If you're standing in the parts aisle, scrolling through endless listings, wondering whether the next scanner you click on is going to actually save you time or just sit on your shelf gathering dust, I get it. You've probably spent a few evenings reading forums, asking friends, maybe even watching a couple of YouTube breakdowns, only to end up more confused. The fear of dropping a few $100 on a tool that can't handle the jobs you really need is real, especially when you're juggling tire pressure monitoring systems, engine codes, and a growing list of quick fixes you keep hearing about. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. That's the Autel MaxiPRO MP900TS, an 8-inch screen scanner that claims to double as a professional-grade TPMS tool and an OA-level coding device. Let's break down whether it lives up to that promise for a typical DIY enthusiast or a small shop owner. First off, the MP900TS isn't just another one-size-fits-all code reader. It's built on the same platform as the MS906 Pro TS, which is a model many techs already trust for heavy-duty diagnostics. What makes this version interesting is the addition of an 8-inch touchscreen that brings the interface closer to what you'd see on a dealer's diagnostic bay. In real-world terms, that means you can walk through a complete scan without squinting at a tiny monochrome display, and you get a more intuitive navigation when you're hammering through a multi-system check in under a minute. For anyone who's ever been frustrated by cryptic menus that require you to guess whether you're looking at a powertrain code or a body control code, the larger screen is a genuine time saver. Now, who should actually consider pulling the trigger on this unit? If you already own a basic OBDII reader and you're mostly interested in the occasional check engine light, you'll probably be better off sticking with that. The MP900TS really shines for people who need to cover a broader range of services on a regular basis. Think of someone who does tire rotations, replaces sensors, and also wants to dive into more advanced tasks like TPMS sensor programming, module coding, or even ABS actuation tests. The device advertises over 40 hot service functions, everything from brake fluid replacement reminders to battery health checks, so it's basically a toolbox for the modern car that has a lot more electronic stuff than the cars from a decade ago. On the flip side, let's talk about who might want to skip this. If you're a hobbyist who only ever reads and clears generic codes, you're likely paying extra for a feature set you'll never use. The MP900TS also supports the newer CANFD and DUIP protocols, which is great for newer models, but that can be overkill if most of your jam is with pre-2015 vehicles that still use traditional OBDII. You'll also notice that the device is fairly heavy for a handheld tool, so if you're planning to keep it in a tight glove compartment for quick trips, it might feel a bit cumbersome. Where does the real value come from? The biggest selling point is the built-in TPMS capability. Many scanners force you to buy a separate TPMS tool, which can easily be another $100, $150. The MP900TS eliminates that extra cost, letting you read sensor IDs, check pressures, and even program new sensors directly from the main unit. In practice, I've seen technicians at local shops who can replace a faulty TPMS sensor in under 5 minutes because the scanner pulls the sensor ID and automatically matches it to the vehicle's database. That's a real workflow improvement, not just a feature you press a button for and forget about. Another strength is the breadth of active tests, over 3,000 bidirectional tests, according to the spec sheet. In real life, that means you can do more than just read codes. You can actively command components and watch the response. For example, if you're troubleshooting a misbehaving ABS module, you can engage the pump motor and verify vibration feedback without having to hook up a separate test bench. That level of control is something you usually only find in dealer-grade equipment, and it can save you both time and the need to rent additional hardware. There are a few practical weaknesses that you'll notice once the box is opened. The software is robust, but it isn't the most intuitive for someone used to a plaintext code reader. The menus can feel nested, and sometimes you have to wade through several screens to get to the exact function you need. That learning curve can be mitigated by spending a bit of time on the tutorial videos Autel provides on their website, but it's a consideration if you're looking for instant plug-and-play simplicity. Battery life is another point to keep in mind. The device packs a sizable screen and a powerful processor, so you'll want to keep it plugged in when you're doing long sessions, otherwise, you may find yourself reaching for the charger after a couple of hours of continuous test work. One thing that often gets glossed over is the software update.